the first part of this presentation, we're going to talk about, throughout this presentation, I should say, we're going to talk about three general categories. The first category will be utility discount programs, and then utility debt programs, followed by cash assistance for utility debt. And just as a little teaser, you will get some really good information about a new program coming out or that has come out through the Public Utilities Commission, available to some customers of the investor-owned utilities, PG&E, SDG&E, SoCalGas, and SoCal Edison, but that we are having a comprehensive what do we call this? A comprehensive workshop on that, which is called AMP, next week. So if you are not registered for that, we're going to encourage you to register for it. And if you know other folks that need to be at that workshop, we will encourage you to share the information with others. The specific programs that we're going to be covering today are CARE, FARA, Medical Baseline, AMP, or the Arrearage Management Plan, as well as LIHEAP. So for some of you, this might be review information, and that's great because we're going to take a little time to talk about how this looks in community. But for others of you, this might be rather new information. And so the first program, CARE, or the California Alternate Rates for Energy Program, is an income-based savings program that offers qualifying families a 30% discount on their monthly energy bill. To be eligible for CARE, households must be income qualified. Families who have a household member that is on Medicaid or Medi-Cal, eligible for LIHEAP, or is on SSI, CalFresh, SNAP, WIC, TANF, or lives in public housing or has a Section 8 voucher are income eligible customers for CARE. Now that is an example list. That's not a comprehensive list. Some folks don't sign up for these programs and may still be eligible for the CARE program. As I said, it is an income-based savings program. While FARA, the Family Electric Rate Assistance Program, is also an income qualifying program, FARA is available to households with slightly higher income than CARE households. And we'll see a slide on the next page to kind of exhibit that. The final program on this list is Medical Baseline. And of the three programs, Medical Baseline is not an income-based eligibility program, but a condition-based eligibility program. All right, it should be noted that families who are eligible for CARE and FARA do not have to provide income verification at the time of signing up for CARE and FARA, but they may be asked in the next year or coming year to provide income qualifications for their CARE and FARA programs. The reason this is that everybody is not required to income verify for CARE or FARA, but they do random verifications for both CARE and FARA programs. Now, if you are a family with 1 to 2 household members, CARE, you can have an income up to $34,480 and qualify for CARE. Unfortunately, the FARA program does not have eligibility for households with less than 3 persons. If you are in a household with 3 people, you can have an income up to $43,440 and qualify for CARE, while as you can see, the income qualification for FARA goes up to $54,300. And I'll give one more example. If you are a household of 6 persons, CARE with an income of $70,320 or less, you can qualify for CARE. And FARA, you can make up to $87,900 and qualify for FARA discounts. You should know that while FARA is also an income qualifying program, it is available to both CARE and FARA are available to all customers of investor-owned utilities. And when we say investor-owned utilities, those are the major utility companies in California: Pacific Gas and Electric, Southern California Gas and Southern California Electric, SDG&E. It only takes a few moments to sign up for CARE and FARA. You can use an online application, or you can go to the website and download the application, print it out, and send it in. And again, no proof of income is necessary. When signing up for any of these programs, it is a best practice that you do keep a copy of your form fully signed out for your records. It would not be a surprise to any of us on this call if the registration form were lost by any of the utility companies, and you may be asked to provide it. If you're asked to provide it and you signed up, say you signed up in January and you're still waiting in March, if you have a copy of your, documentation, you may be eligible for them to go back to January when you signed up and give you the discount, right, post when you actually get requalified. So it's important to keep copies of your documentation.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, we definitely want to make sure that everybody is taking advantage of these programs. They're there, so let's make sure that people get connected with all of these great things. I am going to talk to you all about medical baseline. Some of you have probably already heard this part of our presentation in previous trainings, but we want to make sure that folks really understand that this is another opportunity, another service that is available for folks. I've heard my colleagues, this is the first time I've ever presented on it, so I will lean on my colleagues to add anything that I may have forgotten or left out. I've heard folks actually refer to the medical baseline program as the best kept secret in California, and I was thinking about it, and we don't want it to be a secret. As we're only about 80% of folks that are eligible for medical baseline are actually enrolled in the program, and medical baseline is I think is so applicable to so many other different situations. And so I hope that in these next few slides, we actually make that a little bit more clear and start to get your wheels turning as to other folks that you may not think about right away that might be eligible, that you might want to try to get connected via this program. So medical baseline offers three main things: the discounts, safeguards from disconnections, and planned outage warnings. And I was asking my colleagues, like, well, what exactly is like the discount? What are we talking about here? And in the way, I guess every electricity or gas consumer has a baseline of energy that they're allotted at the lowest rate, right? If you're on a tiered structure rate, or even if on your different type of structure, you're offered a baseline amount before it goes to a higher rate. And medical baseline, if you apply and are eligible, then what it does is it gives you additional usage of energy, which then can save money because you're not paying a higher rate for that additional electricity usage. And medical baseline discounts are available to all electric and gas customers of PG&E, SoCal Edison, SoCalGas, and SDG&E, who have a quote unquote qualifying medical condition, regardless of income. Some municipal utilities don't offer medical baseline, but you may be able to contact them to see if they provide similar protections to medically vulnerable customers. Medical baseline discounts are in addition to care and FARA discounts that households might be struggling to make ends meet. So we hope that you partner with Turn to enroll many eligible households for the medical baseline program, as many as we possibly can, so that we're all contributing to ensure that folks are connected and have the services that they definitely need. So how it works. Customers who are eligible for medical baseline, as I mentioned, they receive a bonus sort of on their individual, a bonus in addition to their baseline energy usage. And this will then translate into energy savings on a monthly and on a yearly basis. And if folks live in Southern California, they have to submit separate medical baseline applications to both Southern California Edison and to SoCalGas. If you're a PG&E or an SDG&E customer, then I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's one application and you might be eligible for both the electricity and gas for those providers. In addition to saving money and to getting that extra energy bump, medical baseline provides extra protections for customers who are in danger of having their utilities shut off because they are behind in making payments. Remote shutoffs are pretty much banned for medical baseline customers. This means that medical baseline customers cannot be shut off via their smart meter. With the smart meters, folks can get shut off just from sort of like the base, the base network or wherever they do the shutoffs from. But with medical baseline customers, that type of shutoff is actually banned. And so there's additional obstacles or steps that a utility company has to take in order to be able to shut off a medical baseline customer. This is, again, not to say that a medical baseline customer cannot be shut off. It just means that they have additional layers of protection before that actually takes place. So, for example, if a medical baseline customer is late on payments or is at the point where they might get shut off, they have to be notified like three times at the very minimum, and before they actually physically come out and have to cut off the service. And even when they come out to cut off the service, then they actually have to try to knock on the door of the customer to allot them another opportunity to try to prevent the shutoff. Right. And so medical baseline requires utility companies to make a good faith effort to communicate with the customer before disconnecting their utility service. And for medical baseline customers that are in hospice, depend on life support equipment, or have a life-threatening condition, as long as they sign up for a payment plan of no less than 12 months, then their shutoffs are banned. So as you can see, there's additional safeguards from disconnections for people that sign up for medical baseline, which is just another helpful tool. And when it comes to planned outage warnings, medical baseline customers are supposed to be sent various notifications before they actually shut off the power, just because the use for medical baseline customers are usually for the maintenance of health, or there might be life-saving equipment that they're using. And so therefore they have to provide customers with additional notifications before they actually do a planned shutoff. The utility companies, you may know, they refer to planned shutoffs as public safety planned shutoffs, PSPs, but they're really not about public safety. Sometimes it's just utility companies trying to save face for being out of compliance or putting the interests of their shareholders before the interests of the customers. And so if they need to shut off the power in a community in order to complete work on their equipment, or if they plan to shut off power in order to avoid causing a wildfire, they have to make a good faith effort to contact medical baseline customers. All right, so who is eligible for medical baseline? As I mentioned, there is no income requirements for medical baseline eligibility. You just have to have a medical condition or a life-threatening illness, and we'll go into that a little bit later. Anybody requiring additional energy to maintain their health is another eligibility criteria. And also, if folks are relying on medical equipment in order to maintain their health, then they can be eligible. And then there's certain eligible medical conditions. And then also, so when we talk about medical conditions, the utility companies list a few medical conditions which are considered eligible for medical baseline, such as paraplegia, hemiplegia, quadriplegia, multiple sclerosis, scleroderma, asthma, sleep apnea, and then they have this one that says comprised immune system, right? And there's a variety of meanings to a comprised immune system. Or they have a condition for which additional heating and cooling is medically necessary to sustain a patient's life or to prevent their health from deteriorating. So any condition that requires additional heating or cooling to prevent their health from deteriorating would be an eligible condition. And so we ask folks to, or we try to remind medical providers of the Center for Disease Control guidelines on chronic medical conditions, which some are like heart disease or mental illness or depression, insomnia, poor blood circulation, obesity, older individuals 65 or plus, or infants and young children. So don't look at the list that is provided as an exhaustive list, but turn to other lists like the Center for Disease Control, because there might be some situations that require cooling or heating or the extra energy in order to maintain health. I mean, in some really hot parts of the state, cooling is really necessary. You hear a lot of older individuals who suffer from heat stroke because it's too hot and can faint, and so that's impeding or preventing their health. And so want folks to use this eligibility criteria to the benefit of your clients or your customers that you deal with, and to work with them. Also, for infants and young children, it can be a very detrimental to be in extremely cold or extremely hot conditions. So many situations that this might apply to, want folks to really expand their thinking around eligibility when it comes to medical baseline. So as I mentioned, no income requirements, and anybody that's requiring additional energy to maintain or prevent deteriorating health conditions is part of the eligibility criteria. Okay, next slide. Signing up for medical baseline. So normally, prior to COVID, for medical baseline eligibility, you had to have medical certification. You had to get a doctor to certify certain medical conditions in order to be eligible. But because of COVID and because of the moratorium, there is no medical certification that is required until June 30th. And this was recently extended for folks that are just joining us and just learning about this. So again, no medical certification for medical baseline eligibility until June 30th. After the moratorium ends or until this is extended again, that after June 30th, there may be a requirement from the utility company to get certification from your doctor in order to continue in the program. And all you have to do or help your clients do is fill out the application, which can be done online, or have the utilities mail a paper copy. I noticed in the chat somebody said that one of the impediments to Karen Farah was not having a computer. So in those situations when you don't have a computer, you can share, you can call the utility company and have them mail out a paper copy and then fill it out and return it that way. Certification and recertification, again, and there might be a need to recertify once the moratorium ends. You might have to recertify certain medical conditions, which might require you to get something from your doctor as well. And see some of the information that on the medical application or the application asks for is the customer's account number, the account holder's first and last names, the residence, and the address where service is provided, a telephone number, and a lot of the information that you would normally have available or normally have to provide in an application. And I think that's next slide. All right, and I'm going to pass it back over to Constance to talk to you all about this great new program. You're on mute, Constance.
Thank you, Jorge. Does everybody know where the reaction button is? It's at the bottom of your screen. If you look where the chat button is, and then you go over about 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe you should see a smiley face with a plus sign. And if you click on that, you will be able to see some reaction. So give me a thumbs up or heart, or anyone really, if you've heard of the arrearage management plan. So we should see a lot of stuff popping up or not so much, depending on how many folks may have heard of the arrearage management plan. Okay, well then this should be pretty good information because I don't see a ton of folks who are familiar with this. I love the uh-oh face. Great. So the reason why you may not have heard of it yet is because this plan is brand new. How brand new is it? Really new. The program began on January 31st of 2021. And this program will help support financially struggling families climb out of utility debt and get back on their feet. And here's a little bit about an overview of the program. It is only available to Karen Farah customers. The program, to qualify for the program, customers must be with the utility company for at least 6 months with at least one on-time payment. They must have debt that is over $500 for an electric company, and $250 if you are a customer of SoCal Gas or a customer of PG&E Gas only. The debt must be at least 90 days old. And just as an aside, customers can switch to the AMP program if they are currently on a payment plan with their utility. Now, let me define arrearage so that we all understand, because it's a term that I think we use internally, and clearly someone thought it was a smart choice to use as the name of a program. But for some folks, you may not be aware. And arrearage just means late or delayed. So if you have late payments that haven't been paid, if you are past due, or past due payments, that debt that is stacking up when your next bill comes, that's called your arrears. And so this is an arrearage management program specifically targeted at relieving that back debt, arrearage, back debt, past due bill, and getting you caught up or your clients caught up and up from underneath that stress and the burden of that debt. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how it works. As I said, this program is available to CARE and FARA participants. So in order to qualify for the program, you have to be on CARE and FARA. If you're not on CARE and FARA, you don't qualify for the program. Even if you qualify for CARE and FARA, but are not taking advantage of that program, you may be forced. I don't know if it's a forcing. If you could get a discount, you should probably get it. But you may be forced to enroll for CARE and FARA before you can qualify for the AMP program. And what it will do is forgive 1/12 of debt for each on-time payment. Now, 1/12 for each on-time payment. This is a 12-month program in which you will sign an agreement that your debt will be forgiven 1/12 of that debt per month for every on-time payment that you will make. And I'll go a little bit more into that on the next slide. Now, customers can miss 2 non-consecutive payments during the 12 months. What this means is that if you start the program in January and you find yourself having some financial difficulty in March and you're unable to pay your current bill, you can miss that current bill as long as the next month you make up that past due bill for March plus the April bill. And you would not be able to miss March and April. That's what's meant by non-sequential payments. So if you missed a payment in March and you made it up in April and May, you could actually miss the payment in June. You could actually miss the payment in May. But they cannot be sequential. So you cannot miss April and May. You can miss March and May, but not April and May, or not June and July. That's sequential. So they cannot be non-sequential. And you are required to make that payment up the next month. So if you had a $100 payment due in March and you got your bill for April and it was $100, you would have to pay $200 to stay qualified for the AMP program. Next slide, please. Okay, so There is no, so if you're on the program and it's a 12-month program and you get to the 6th month and you lose your job or your income, or you go through some medical crisis or something that prohibits you from following through with the program. Let's say you're on the program for 6 months. The program will default to a 1/6 month program. Therefore, for the 6 months that you did the program, 1/6 of your debt will be forgiven. The other part of your debt will not be forgiven. You would not be eligible to re-enroll in the program for a year. However, you would be eligible to get the other arrearages or back debt put into a different payment plan, but it would not be a forgiveness plan. So the benefit of an arrearage management program is that the debt literally will go away. Now, customers who complete the program after 12 months will have their debt completely gone away, resolved, up to $8,000. So if you have debt that is in excess of $8,000, that would not qualify for the arrearage management program, but debt up to $8,000 would qualify for the program. And the excess of any $8,000 debt would qualify for a 12-month payment plan. Not an arrearage management plan, but a 12-month payment plan. So say you had a $9,000 total arrearage or back debt. The program would cover $8,000 of that, and then you could qualify for a 12-month payment plan for that additional $1,000 so that you could pay off that debt. Customers who complete the program may also enroll again after 12 months. We hope this wouldn't be the case. Part of TURN's desire is to make sure that folks have affordable energy. And so we want to do everything that we can to make sure that folks don't consistently get into a challenge or a problem with paying their bills. We're going to go to the next slide and talk a little bit about LIHEAP. LIHEAP is a federally funded program that provides financial assistance to eligible households to offset the cost of past due or late arrearage bills. Because the federal government administers the program, there may be a requirement to provide a Social Security number when you ask for LIHEAP funding. This is not an overall across the board definite, so folks need to check with their local LIHEAP community action partner to learn if this federal requirement is being enforced through their provider. Now, to apply for the LIHEAP program, you can find the energy service provider in your community on the California Department of Community Services and Development site. You can also call the CSD toll-free at 866-675-6623. I'll put that number in the chat a little bit later. You can also contact your local community action partner or Catholic Charities for more information. Now, it takes about 45 days to process a LIHEAP application, and customers are usually notified within 30 days or less if they've been granted the funding. LIHEAP provides a one-time payment ranging from $184 to $306. And you can qualify for this one-time payment every 12 months. The thing to know about LIHEAP is that it is a federal program that is, and the funds are allocated by local county providers who are allotted a certain amount of money each month. That money is on a first come, first served basis each month, and it does run out. Therefore, Once the funding is exhausted for the month, there will not be any more offered until the following month. LIHEAP information, as I said, can be located on the CSD website. But to give you an idea, for a family of one, you cannot make over $2,431.09 in a month. For a family of three, you cannot make over $3,927.14 in a month. And for a family of six, you could not make over $6,171.22. I encourage each of you to go on to your specific utility company's website and look into their specific programs that they have available to support families in crisis. For PG&E, they have a REACH program. For SDG&E, they have a Neighbor to Neighbor program. For SoCal Gas, they have the Gas Assistance Fund. And for SoCal Edison, they have the Energy Assistance Fund. Resources for those funds and for those programs can be found on the websites of your investor-owned utility.
Thank you so very much for your time. Thanks for being with us.